Welcome to Season 4, Episode 15 of Gateway Geeks Podcast. This is our holiday episode. This time we're talking about Cyberpunk, Star Wars, and our favorite holiday movies. You may notice that my voice in this one sounds a little bit like The Mandalorian, and I assure you that is completely intentional. You could join our person-packed episode now with Joe, Tracy, Sarah, Chris, Aaron, and Wendy.
You get Muppet Christmas Carol.
I haven't actually watched in a decade.
It's
yeah,
actually
me neither,
one of.
but I want to because it apparently has some of the most accurate Victorian costuming in all of movie history. It's
one of the better Christmas carols I've seen.
I think it's honestly one of the best Christmas Carol adaptations.
Yeah,
definitely. The costuming is spot on.
Yeah.
It's
on Disney Plus
even
now. So
yeah.
Good to know.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I think I'm going to watch that
That's
soon.
what we're watching later this weekend, Aaron. We haven't seen that. I haven't seen it in years.
Speaking of things to watch, please nobody spoil the season finale of Mandalorian because I was greedy and saw it before Wendy did, and she hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, I haven't seen. Tracy and I haven't watched it yet either.
I walked into the kitchen, looked around the corner, and said, "You could have asked." So he brought me ice cream after lunch, but if we end up having to talk about spoilers tonight, he owes me more than ice cream.
Yep. It's really good, and if you haven't seen it, don't go on Twitter. So you've seen it.
Most of my friends are actually like saying, "I'm not going to spoil it," or I'm going to talk about it, but we're going to put it in the comments.
Yeah.
So my friends are being good about that.
I think we can get through. There's nothing on the podcast that explicitly. Well, we can talk about all the other Star Wars stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's just plenty.
Wait, what else is there?
Well,
is there news?
Just a few things, just a couple.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, you can include this as the stinger at the beginning if you want. Hey, what's with people complaining about, there's too much Star Wars?
Yeah.
Play the numbers, motherfuckers. The more of it there is, the more of it that will be good.
Yeah.
Why would you want less Star Wars and then hope it's good?
I'm always fascinated by how different my take on Star Wars is than people. Like, I listen to podcasts and someone was complaining about Rogue One. I thought that was actually like one of the better new Star Wars movies.
I loved Rogue One.
Yeah.
I got in the theater and they started to roll the credits, like the opening credits with the music under it, and I was 11 years old in the theater again, and that's what it needed to be for me.
Yeah.
Look, but before a year ago, I would have told you I love every Star Wars movie. I just do. I love the prequels. I love the Ewok adventures. I just like Star Wars. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Then I saw Rise of Skywalker and fuck that noise. Okay, there's one Star Wars movie I don't like.
That's still good odds, though.
I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 11. I have not yet bothered to watch Rise of Skywalker because
I still haven't seen it.
All I need to know about it on Facebook. That's
what
all I need to know.
You've never seen the great cavalry charge that takes down the... Fuck that movie so hard.
That's kind of why I was like, I think I can probably skip this one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I kept waiting. I kept waiting for Jonathan Pryce to say, "Okay, arc to the left." And watching the destroyer turn and all the horses going. Ah!
Yeah.
There's a really great Facebook graphic that has a Christmas decorated Star Destroyer.
Nice.
I can see. So since we've already welcome to episode 15 of season 4 of the Gateway Geeks podcast. We've already been talking for probably like 5 minutes about Star Wars. We're going to get back into that. I don't believe we actually have a game this time, but we have six. Aaron,
I got it.
Game Master Aaron, proceed.
All right. What is your favorite trope? What is your favorite movie trope?
I would have appreciated a little more lead time.
All right, okay.
Because not everybody, but
it's got to be easier if we're going to just off the cuff. It's got to be easier.
All right. Okay. Well, did you use my suggestion for the last episode of what makes you a monster?
Yes, we did.
We sure did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, for those of you who have missed Aaron and I, it's because, well, we had COVID.
Yeah. Maybe we can. So like 50% at least of us have had COVID. Maybe the others have too. So be careful, everybody.
Yeah.
Why? It's fun.
We still don't even know. We still don't know where we got it.
That's great.
Yeah, we have there's a couple of possibilities, but we do know for a fact that we did not pass it on to anyone because everybody at my workplace checked out clean, and the first week we were so sick we didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
okay.
herd immunity sucks. Don't do it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your damn shot.
immunity- Yeah, no. To paraphrase Dr. Sidney McElroy, herd immunity in the absence of a effective vaccine was eugenics by other name.
Like I said, it's been over a month. Erin is still coughing. I have lost approximately 3% of my lung function on a permanent basis, and I'm in my early 50s. So
Yeah.
don't do it, kids. My brother had it. My niece and nephew had it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
New Year's resolution.
There we go. New
Uh,
Year's resolutions. Okay, I'm Joe. My New Year's resolution is don't die of COVID. Aaron.
My New Year's resolution is to continue my 20-year strong resolution of not making a damn resolution.
Nice.
It's not fair. I made a resolution last year that even if I had wanted to follow up on it, I couldn't. Because my New Year's resolution last year was to see more movies in the theater.
Oh,
man.
Because I work 2 blocks from a theater that has like $5 Tuesdays. And I'm like, I should not wait till it comes on. I should go to the movies and see movies in theaters.
Yeah.
Well, even if I had actually managed to keep that, this is not a thing we are doing right now.
In the interest of public health, you have given up on your New Year's resolution.
Right.
I'd probably slacked on it before then anyhow. But yeah, because I realized that there was like a year and a half when I'd seen like 2 movies. I'm like, all right, no, I need to do better than that.
Yep. Chris?
Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris. My New Year's resolution is to get over my newly exacerbated fear of crowds as soon as we're able to.
Oh
Yeah.
Because I've always hated crowds, and I realize that I now get incredibly stressed out just going to the grocery store.
Oh yeah.
I was this close after the first lockdown. I'm like, I'm starting to get agoraphobic. Not even people just leaving my house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I need to maybe watch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Erin and I were watching something on TV the other day, and I'm like, all I can think of is, you're all too close to each other. It's going to take us a long time to work through this.
Oh my god. Yes.
Where's your mask?
Is it me?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
Is it- Hi, I'm Sarah Jane Connor. I don't make New Year's resolutions because I'm already perfect.
All right, Tracy, what's yours?
That's
That's
the
a hard
best
one to
I've
follow.
heard. That's very hard to follow. My New Year's resolution is to, in the new year, send out all of my Christmas gifts for 2020.
Yeah.
That's okay. You can send them out tomorrow, and they still won't get there. So
Exactly.
Oh, it is an absolute mess here in Chicago.
we get mail maybe twice a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I had medication and an Etsy order show as delivered in the USPS system 5 days before they physically showed up in our building lobby.
Yeah.
So I just, there's that Facebook meme that says, stop clicking tracking information because it's in the Lord's hands now.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've got 2/3 of their staff and they've got 4 times the packages because everybody's mailing because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and
So-
then in the city in St. Louis, the porch pirates are emboldened. Well, I mean, partially because people have like lost their jobs and they're desperate or whatever.
Mhm.
But then there's that stupid Tracy, what's it called? It's not back porch. It's
Next door.
Next door.
next door, and it's just like a bunch of really bored, like wealthy people
Yeah.
complaining about like about like kids walking past their house. It's kind of ridiculous.
My mother briefly got involved in that, and I'm like, and you very quickly discovered how little you like your neighbors, didn't you? And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Real
pretty much.
quick, can I just throw it out there? Everyone, don't buy fucking Ring cameras.
Oh God, the
One,
privacy alone.
The
but
privacy alone. Two,
Yeah.
the cops have a back door into all of them and turn your neighborhood into a surveillance state. And three, occasionally they explode and burn your door down.
Yep.
Well,
and you can use them as part of the they can link them all together as part of the neighborhood, or as Cory Doctorow put it, the Internet of Things that should not be on the internet.
Well, since we're talking about people's front porches during this holiday season, have you all seen Frank the Gargoyle?
no.
Frank the Christmas Gargoyle.
Yes.
Yes.
You're going to have to make an effort to find it because this is 2020 and this is the reason we can't have nice things. They started a page for it and it was immediately taken over by hackers, and the original poster lost rights to it, so you can't find it now. But
the background story is somebody has a gargoyle on their front porch, just your average stone gargoyle, and he put a Santa hat on it and got an angry gram from one of his neighbors saying this isn't Christmas, and things escalated quickly from there.
Yes, here we go.
Yep. Because in fact, hippos are Christmas as fuck.
That's kind of adorable. What's going on with this eyes wide shut snowman down here?
Phantom
That's
of
the
Opera.
Phantom,
Phantom
Joe.
of the Opera.
Oh, okay.
It's one side.
Jesus, come on.
But
I mean, probably about equally horny.
Yeah.
But you know.
Probably.
the three wise hippos. There's a coronavirus sitting in the wreath. A stuffed coronavirus sitting in the wreath, wearing a Santa hat. Every time he gets a complaint from this lady, she added more stuff.
Yeah.
Like
That's amazing.
there is a dog skeleton that then got a Christmas sweater
Mhm.
and a light up beware of dog sign that has like Christmas lights on it, which got knocked over.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So she put a plague doctor
Yeah.
with Christmas lights on it, and then when that got kicked over, the plague doctor now has little rat skeletons are running around, and some of them are wearing Santa hats,
Mhm.
and some of the rats are stuffed, and it's just
It's amazing.
every day it's just been escalating, and it's been glorious, and it's been that one bit of absurdity
Yeah.
that we've all needed in this dumpster fire of a year. And of course, somebody on Facebook decides we can't have nice things and hacks the page, and now the lady who started it, her page she's in Facebook jail, and they can't get into the actual page. They're asking people to unfollow and report it, and they're starting a blog on Facebook. But it is, if you do get a chance, when it gets back up, you should get a chance to see it, because it is absolutely glorious. When we were watching it on Facebook go from, it started as like this lady's personal blog, and somebody shared it, and they started migrating things over to the page. And I was like, they've got 580 some odd likes. And as I looked over at Aaron, I looked back and said, now they've got 634,000 likes.
Yeah.
They'd gotten up to 311,500 likes before things went pear-shaped.
Yeah, that's what we need this Christmas is some pettiness in the right direction. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Christmas needs to
Festive Christmas pettiness.
be. Yes. So
And a
Um,
Phantom.
What's your New Year's resolution, Joe?
I said to not get COVID. That's my New Year's resolution.
Oh, okay.
I already went. Give it the program, Tracy. Come on.
Sorry.
So we were talking about, we're not going to talk about Mandalorian because some of us have not seen the latest episode, but so what do you all think about the 5 bazillion things that they released?
I
Tracy?
can't even remember.
Oh my God.
More Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm excited
Yeah.
about the Patty Jenkins movie,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks wonderful. I'm liking that. I'm glad that they teased the Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, because
same.
that I'm really liking. Although they've got to do a little more structural work with the head tentacles before they put that into regular heavy use.
Yeah, it
There was-
looked a
there
little
were
bit
some-
like,
Yeah, there were some issues with the prosthetic
Yeah.
in the guest appearance. Hopefully, they can get those addressed.
yeah, it looked a
Nobody
little
likes
bit like,
floppy tentacles.
They wrinkled in the middle right here, which is of course what they would do,
Yeah.
but it was It's like it was.
Look, Ahsoka's getting older. She's gonna have some wrinkles in her head tails.
It had that same wrinkle that fake faux muscles do.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll get that addressed before. The fight choreography was amazing in that episode, by the way.
I don't know. I kind of liked the slightly cheesy look of the. There's a lack of fear of tactileness that they've embraced with the Mandalorian, where like they're not afraid to have a fucking puppet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More puppets.
That plays into George Lucas's whole everything shouldn't be clean and white and shiny. Places look lived in. People's clothes look lived in.
Right.
Spaceport bars are grungy and disgusting.
Right, which is a philosophy that he had right up until 1984.
Yep. Oh my God, they're remaking Willow too. That's in the whole.
Yes.
Starring Warwick Davis still.
Really? That's
Warwick Davis is on board with that.
How old is he now? He's got to be like in his 60s, right?
Right. Well, he's attached to the project. It didn't say. It just said Willow with Warwick Davis. So maybe I don't know. He's like an older Willow looking back on the story.
Right.
More sense.
But yeah, there's
he's playing Wilbo now.
And there's going to be like one more Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones movie, which I have. Which I have mixed feelings about.
Oh, so the rumor is that movie was part of the deal to get him to do Star Wars.
Okay.
Where
I did hear that. Yeah.
He's like fuck Han Solo, but if you'll let me be Indiana Jones again, I'll do it. And that's just been, like on the back burner for half a decade of trying to make that happen. And apparently it's also been rewritten like 13 times from page 1.
Yeah.
That always makes things better. Sometimes rewrites are needed, but when you get to that many, you're like, nobody knows what this movie is about, territory.
Yeah.
Right. I don't understand Harrison. I mean, I understand that Harrison Ford doesn't like playing Han Solo, doesn't like the Star Wars franchise, but how different is Han Solo and Indiana Jones? It's just that Indiana Jones has like an actual degree, right? Like they're kind of the same character. They're not really that different.
So for a guy who's so famous, I know it's sort of just hilarious to say it. Harrison Ford kind of hates science fiction.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of always has.
Although the last Indiana Jones movie had aliens in it. It had fucking aliens. Like, come on, Harrison Ford, get it fucking straight.
Early on, he wasn't that down on the Indiana Jones. That was a little more grounded for him because he actually did show up at a Chicago convention before the first movie opened and bought some art in one of the art shows. And the lady who worked the art show basically wet herself when he signed the check. Yeah. When he bought some art.
Yeah.
He's always enjoyed Indiana Jones to the extent that he enjoys working at all, which is not that much.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like a Bruce Willis situation like we talked about last time.
There's few things funnier than oh God, where did I see this interview? It was Mark Hamill talking about doing
it's the one where Mark Hamill did the Harrison Ford impression, right?
Well, yeah, but
the bad lip read?
Well, no. But there was one where he was specifically talking about when they were doing line readings for when they were
he was on Conan or something.
What's the word for interviewing when you're an actor? I apologize.
Auditioning.
My brain is gone. And they had Harrison Ford on the other side reading before he'd really been cast because Lucas was trying to cast him, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And basically, like he would sit down and he would read something just kid parsecs blah 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 blah. And then Mark Hamill would be like, what does that mean exactly? And he'd point at George Lucas, go, I don't know, fucking ask him. He wrote it. It's all bullshit to me.
God. I mean, well, so there's the new Obi-Wan Kenobi. We talked about Ashoka. There's Rangers of the New Republic, which is within the Mandalorian timeline, right?
Yeah, that's going to be all the TIE fighter pilots, and also presumably what's her name?
Not TIE fighter, X-Wing.
X-Wing. Sorry, yeah.
That's why we had the guys in the one episode with the spider, because that's the tie-in.
Right. Yeah. So and also presumably Marshall, what's her name? The MMA
Dropper. Yeah.
transphobe.
Yeah, the one who hopefully can get her shit together enough before they cancel her show. Yeah.
Yeah. The unfortunate transphobe.
Yep.
Yeah, she has said some unfortunate things.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Getting punched in the head professionally is not good for me.
Yep.
God. Well, and having her and Bill Burr on the same show, it's like not a good look for the casting director in terms of stuff like that. I thought he was okay in the episode that he was originally cast in. The recent episode with him, though, I was kind of like,
I dug it. I thought it was fantastic.
I think he was on screen for
I
too
don't
long, given
like
his
Bill.
acting.
I don't like Bill Burr, and I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
But
Even
here's what I did like, though. So it begins with him doing the ultimate Bill Burr thing, where he's given a both sides speech about the Empire
Right.
and the New Republic, where he's like, yeah, one of them killed 1 trillion people, but the other one, arrested me. So really, it's all the same.
Yeah, he's like, people are the same everywhere. Yeah.
Right. But the minute he is forced to look real evil in the eye, he has to instantly acknowledge, no, fuck this shit, kill Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually a delightful message to deliver, and Bill Burr would be the one to do it because he's the guy who's been the both sides of the same all along.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And in that scene, the scene that the thing I loved most about that particular scene was just how much what's his name, actor Mando,
Pedro Pascal.
Pascal was able to convey with just the slightest tilt of his head, basically screaming, "Don't do this! Nope, you're gonna fuck this up! Nope, don't!" Yeah, and an amazing job.
I did rather like the so you're from Alderaan? Yeah. Did you lose anyone?
Fucking hell!
He's
I
such
was
a
like,
dick.
oh my God, it's like every horrible news sticking your camera in somebody's face after a horrible tragedy.
Did you
Every
lose
cringeworthy news-
anyone?
Yeah.
Yes, the entire fucking planet.
Yeah.
It's
Tracy,
not...
Tracy, Alderaan that's like the planet the Death Star blew up. That's what they're saying.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay, yeah. In the first Star Wars movie, Alderaan is destroyed partly because Leia's from there, and he says, and they're using that as leverage against Leia. Tell us where the rebellion is, or we're going to blow up your home planet. And she tells them, of course, she lies to them, and they blow up the planet anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is a character in The Mandalorian who it's been established is originally from there, and so somebody literally says, looking up a record, oh, you're from Alderaan. Did you lose anyone?
Yeah.
And it's like every horrible, your entire family has been murdered by an axe murderer, and there's a news photographer sticking a microphone in your face.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moment. It's exactly that, because literally they blew up the entire planet and all their people and all their cats and all their dogs and all their everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the look she gives him is just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more complex than some of the previous episodes, but the one that I'm actually looking forward to is the one that the one lady who created Russian Doll is doing. I forget. Let me see if I can. I think it's the Acolyte. That's
Natasha?
No. Her name's Leslie Headland, I think. But she's
the showrunner.
The showrunner. So she's like they.
Oh
they
my
added her.
God! Can we get a Star Wars movie and/or series starring Natasha Lyonne?
I would love that.
Oh my!
yeah.
I would love that too.
Whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Whatever she. Oh my
We
God!
already have Amy Sedaris. I mean, like I'm hopeful.
She
Why
takes
not?
over. She takes over the cantina at Tatooine.
Yes.
Hey, you blue fucker, sit down. What do you want? Some milk? What's wrong with
It's
you?
like the B. Arthur scene from the Star Wars Holiday Special, but a whole show.
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, what if she's in the Obi-Wan series? Like she's
Yes! Oh my God! Yes!
She's like
the
Obi-Wan's
bartender that he
mom.
goes to hang out with.
Oh, okay.
No.
But
Ben, You robed fucker, sit down. Come on, you're normal.
Yeah.
I really did like that. Aaron and I were watching on the news. They had the interviews from the guys who produced the documentary about the Star Wars holiday special. And it was really funny watching them all try and talk around. They're like, well, why did they get it made? And Aaron's like, because George Lucas wanted to sell toys.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, but, and they're like, well, we wanted to do this. And I'm like, why did money?
Right.
Why did they greenlit this? Money. It was another year and a half before the movies, and Lucas wanted to keep selling more toys.
Yeah.
And
all these.
But it's funny watching the filmmakers dance around.
Right. It's all like post hoc rationalization for them to make more money.
And I'm like, no, they did it because they needed to keep the property in the public eye to continue to make money and sell toys.
Right.
End of story. So we get some famous people and we write a really awful script and we stick it on TV. And,
Speaking of merchandising and keeping franchises alive, who wants to talk about Cyberpunk?
Oh, yeah.
So the new game just came out. I think I'm like the only one who has played it yet. So that we'll make that like not really the point of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things to unpack here. And actually, Tracy, can you, like at some point while we're going through this, help us understand like what actual punk is? Because if you look at all of us, I think it's clear that none of us actually know much about it.
If I may, the definition of punk is actually a 15th century definition, as originally meant prostitute. But the definition that I think is relevant to this discussion is Merriam-Webster Dictionary's punk rock, which is rock music marked by extreme and often deliberately offensive expressions of alienation and social discontent.
Well, it's three chords. That's the big thing. And
but the idea being that it is a reaction. It is by definition anti-establishment.
Right.
And so all of these something punk, whatever, cyberpunk, whatever, all of those types. The reason there's something punk is that same angle of we're either working in the shadows or it's an anti-establishment, it's an anti-society, it's an individualistic expression, that the original punks in Greenwich Village, I've got somebody who used to hang out there and did David Bowie's stage gear. So,
I mean, I think the problem
credit
now
where credit's due. Dewey Cox invented punk. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Tracy, can you give us a take on this that is grounded in experience?
I don't think
I think amongst this group, yes.
I think it's definitely
we're asking for you to give us a little bit of authenticity here, right? That's what we need.
Well, so I think punk is definitely a reaction to something, whether or not that's something political or some sort of structure that it's a reaction to. And I think that a big part of punk too is that it's like a DIY, do-it-yourself culture. You're not relying on anyone else. You're doing it yourself. You're coming up with new structures, or you're saying we don't need any structures at all. It's a bit of anarchy to do it. But I think that that's how I would describe punk.
Yeah. And what was your band? What was your band called, Tracy? You have to tell us about your band. They weren't bad.
I've heard the call out podcast.
No, it's not. I'm not trying to call her out. They were good. Tracy was like the lead singer. She was.
Whenever I was in high school, I was the lead singer in an all-girl punk band called Gross Betty, and then I was in another all-girl punk band called 10 Second Rule. Yeah. And my brother's been in a punk band for like 20 years called the Yuppie Pricks, which is like a shtick band.
Which is also like the most apt description of your brother I've ever heard.
Oh, give him a break. It's a shtick.
It's not a shtick anymore. Let's not pretend.
It's a shtick.
Yeah. So Cyberpunk then, and I guess like Aaron and Wendy could probably talk more about this. So was Cyberpunk created by people who were actually interested in punk, or was it like people like us who thought they knew what punk was trying to make it?
No, it's a completely
it was an evolution in science fiction of authors who are like, hey, I really dig Philip K. Dick. Oh, how cool! He's writing about drugs and being dissatisfied with the status quo.
Right.
I want to write more. I want to write more like that because, dude, that's edgy and also apparently profitable.
Right.
And then you were looking. We were getting into the early days of plug-in disposable plastic culture.
Yeah.
And the days where everything is the concept of everything being online was an idea that was just on the horizon. So the idea that you would plug your brain into a computer and use it to access virtual spaces and interact in ways and explore those ideas was an important aspect of science fiction. The cyberpunk angle on it ended up being more as Tracy put it, more the anti-establishment, the anti-hero kind of people.
Yeah.
The underground tech, underground hackers,
Marginalized people.
Marginalized people, and everything is run by big corporations. So these are the individual. They're like the pirates of the of the day, and the cyberpunk was just a particular aspect of that wave in let's explore what computers are going to do to the way we interact with society and each other.
So what? Speaking of, we were talking earlier about all the cyberpunk-esque movies that Keanu Reeves has been in, and when you said Philip K. Dick, I was like, oh, A Scanner Darkly. There's another one.
Yeah.
So is that like is Philip K. Dick kind of like the person you would trace a lot of cyberpunk to?
I've read one of them. He's one of them.
Yeah, the one that I would pull more strongly from is the one that Aaron referenced on the show notes, which is William Gibson.
William Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He took that and ran with it and created multiple sets of it. He's really the one who came up with everything is owned by Japanese cyber corporations, and you're going to plug your brain into the internet.
And yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and politically, that really links to like what Americans were afraid of in like the 80s, 70s, and 80s.
Well,
economically.
Well, also there was this whole big popular cultural stew happening because you had Neuromancer coming out around the same time as Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, and those two bits of media pretty much helped define the visual aesthetic of what we think of as cyberpunk.
Right.
Whereas thematically they are very different, because Blade Runner is more about what is human and does it matter, and the Neuromancer is very much about what are we going to become. Are we looking back, or are we looking, because in Blade Runner has a lot of looking back, whereas Neuromancer and the Burning Chrome and all the other books that Gibson wrote are more like, what are we doing to ourselves? And maybe we should stop and think about this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Blade Runner as the visual Bible, in the same way that fantasy will never outgrow the Old Testament, cyberpunk film visual adaptations will never outgrow Blade Runner.
Really, Scott. Well, right, and then of course for our listeners who don't know, Blade Runner is also based on, probably loosely, right, on a Philip K. Dick.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah.
It's a short story.
It's a short story.
What I do love, though, that he loved the title Blade Runner so much that when he wrote the follow-up, he called it Blade Runner 2.
Yeah.
He was the first one to admit, look, even I think my titles are too long.
Yeah.
And that eventually led to things like the Telestorian Games Cyberpunk 2020.
The distant future.
And here's a fun thing: the tabletop paper and dice RPG still holds up. Yes, it's now 2020, but I mean, this is a alternate world where you have these corporations, or if you're a GM, you could just push the timeline along to, like, say, to like say 2077.
It was always meant to be just beyond the future that we can see.
Yeah, right.
I do want to mention that one of the primary things, and I'm going to bring this to an angle of a discussion about the game, is that one of the aspects that Cyberpunk and Shadowrun and a lot of those other games and books also took into effect was the idea of at what point do we, if we've got cybernetic eyes and we've got, enhanced musculature and all of that, at what point do we stop being human? Which is an interesting idea.
Yeah.
But if you look at it through the lens of 2020, it's incredibly ableistic.
Right. True. Yeah. And there's a lot of, and that whole idea, like when you talk about it in academia and stuff, I usually see it referred to as transhumanism, but there's a bunch of ways. Because like what you're talking about, you have these people who will go to cons, and this is a real thing, and they'll like implant things in their arms. They'll like hang out with other people who are not doctors, and they'll like put a RFID chip in their wrist so they can like whatever. And then you have people who, are dealing with some kind of like they're blind or they can't hear something, and then they get like an implant that allows them to do whatever. Right. Like those are not the same sets of concerns.
Right.
Really.
But in Cyberpunk, they were exploring the idea of, at what point do you stop being human, which was an interesting concept if you're just talking about in your head.
Yeah.
But the way that played out in game mechanics for things like Shadowrun and things like Cyberpunk is that there then became
cyberpsychosis,
emotional penalties for becoming the more mechanical, the more assistive devices you used.
Yeah.
And if you stop and think about that, that is effectively saying people who use assistive devices are less human.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's super disgusting.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
But
is.
at the time, it was, it was, let's explore this idea. And now we're like, we've explored it and it's terrible.
Yeah, and in the game that just came out, and we can talk about it very briefly because, like I said, I think I'm the only one who played it so far. They have the cyber psychos, but there's a quest where you have to go around and like save cyber psychos who are freaking out on the street, and you're not supposed to kill them. You're supposed to like subdue them and then help them. And so they're trying to like address it on the other end. Like there's this whole storyline about how people who go through cyberpsychosis have to be on this medication, and how like it's a problem for them in terms of their interactions with other people, but it's still very kind of like ham-fisted. I mean, at least they're acknowledging that it was a problem, I guess. But
because I mean, if you start looking at some of the people that have the, like, for example, the artificial limbs with the neuromuscular feedback and some of that cool stuff that's coming on.
Yeah.
If I had something like that and I went back and read Cyberpunk, I'd be incredibly
Yeah, and I think logistically we should also just acknowledge that this was probably something they put in the game so you didn't just get all of the devices that become overpowered.
It was a balancing mechanic.
Yeah.
It was a balancing mechanic, but it was also an aspect of the game, because the whole concept of the game was the interaction between humanity and technology, and at what point is it too far? What is it doing to us? What is it?
Yeah.
Should we stop and think about this before we headlong rush into plugging ourselves into our Atari 2600s?
Very briefly, can we acknowledge the fact that there are now 2 science fiction franchises in which Keanu Reeves' character in the 2020s is a musician that changes the world?
Yes.
We haven't seen The Matrix 4 yet, so we don't know.
Oh, shit.
That's gonna be.
Oh my God! He just started a band.
That's all it is. Oh my God! Speaking of there being too many things on the internet that should not be on the internet, so I got this mug because when I was writing so it's like there's a little thing in it that keeps the mug hot, and you can like change the temperature from your phone. But
you got an internet connected cup?
I did. Yes. Yes.
Of course he did. Let's just stop for a moment.
I have been yelling at everyone for a decade to... The Internet of Things will kill us all.
The Internet of Things that don't need to be on the Internet.
Yeah.
Fucking North Korea is going to take us out with our crock pot.
They're going to turn my mug way up and make me burn myself.
Wait, Joe, I have to know something about the heat pad.
Yeah.
Is the heat pad independently a heat source.
No, it's just a charging station. The motor is like in the bottom of the cup. The reason I did it is because when I'm working on. Oh my god, it's a real thing.
Do you remember 2 years ago when the Department of Defense got a denial of service attack launched against it by LG refrigerators? That's a real thing that already happened.
Okay, but you realize that nothing. I mean, this is like people freaking out about there being RFID chips in a vaccine. Like
No!
nothing is going to surpass. Nothing is going to surpass your phone, Chris. Like we're all carrying the phone around with us.
Your phone is encrypted, my dude. Your cup is not.
It's not, though. It's really not. Like, it's not very hard to get into people's information.
This has nothing to do with surveillance. It has to do with botnets.
Okay, well, when my cup blows my arm off and I have to get a cybernetic arm, then I will apologize.
The idea is that they can get into that and use a short range signal, the signal that was between, say, your phone and it, to hack into, for example, if you had a home security device or a voice activated.
It's because it's all Blu-ray. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
well,
Bluetooth.
the bigger problem is Blu-ray.
What did I
Yeah.
say? Bluetooth. It's Bluetooth. It's on Blu-ray. You got the Matrix. So okay,
The Russians are going to hack into your cup
and
use it to watch a Blu-ray copy of Amelie.
We're getting off track. So
Amelie?
So briefly, the game. Cyberpunk 2077 came out. There was a lot of people bitching about it. I won't go into it too much because this is covered a lot elsewhere. But it's an immersive sim, and I've really enjoyed just like, disappearing into something. I appreciate the escapism, to be honest. So
You like going outside? I mean, for real. I've been playing games where I can go outside.
Right.
I'm serious.
Yeah, like you could go into a building and there are other people there. Yeah, no, exactly.
Oh yeah, no, like God damn it! Why is my brain completely dumb? What's the?
Aaron likes to play a game that's a scuba diving simulator.
Is it? What's
Aqua?
it?
Abzu. Abzu.
Yeah,
that's a cool game.
Abzu.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I love it for so many reasons. One, you cannot lose, you cannot die. It's
you just wander around and look at stuff and do stuff.
And I mean, there is a story, and there are 2 jump scares, but they're not like gratuitous. They fit in the story.
Right.
Have we talked about Firewatch yet on the podcast?
I don't think so.
Highly recommend. I don't want to say anything else about it. It's a great experience.
And even like No Man's Sky, they've improved vastly, and it's kind of similar to that.
Yes, but can you pet the dog?
Probably.
For those of you who aren't familiar, there is an entire website directory dedicated to can you pet the dog. If you're in a video game and there is a dog, can you pet it? Now, I don't remember what game it is where you originally couldn't pet the dog, and they found out about it. And then the next release, they put in a patch.
There was
so
a
you
patch
can, in fact, pet the dog.
That's
Can
awesome.
you pet the dog? Yeah,
Well,
so
yes.
I don't remember whether it's .org or .com, but if you Google "can you pet the dog," you will find a list of what video games you can and can't pet the dog.
Yes, the crucial questions. Absolutely.
Exactly. This is how I shop.
Yeah, I get it.
Far Cry Primal for me is mostly a simulator where you get to pet large fuzzy animals.
Yeah, well, a lot of the issues that I'm hearing around the release of Cyberpunk again have to do with it's taken so long to come out. At what point is it retro? It's so
it was
aesthetic. Yeah, I mean, the aesthetic is 30 years old now.
It is, but it was it was first advertised in like 2012, and they just keep pushing back.
I saw a comment on Steam that I did love where the review was like, it was really nice of them to announce an 18-plus game and then wait until everyone was 18.
But, like, here's the thing, though. So my only criticism of CD Projekt Red, the company that made Cyberpunk 2077, is the sort of crunch culture that they do, where they're like...
I was going to say, I was hoping someone was going to touch on that.
Where they just, like, lock these developers and game testers in a room. I mean, it's basically, like, overtime nonstop for months and months on end, and it sounds terrible.
To make these artificial deadlines.
Yeah. Right.
Rather
Right.
than allowing the time it takes to get the game completed. And then you've got people who internalize that kind of tech bullshit culture where you work 18-hour days for 3 months, you know,
Right.
and that's not sustainable to your workers, or frankly, you're not going to get as good a product.
No, right, and you're going to have bugs because people are, well, and that's like Ubisoft, which makes like Assassin's Creed, and do they make the
Far Cry games?
The Far Cry games, yeah. And so, I mean, like a lot of those big AAA companies are guilty of that. But the criticism about the game, you know, first of all, like we're complaining the game didn't come out, and then when they're finally like, whatever, we're putting the game out and it's still buggy, you're complaining. But I mean, my thing is just like I've never played an immersive sim of this scale that does not have bugs in it. And like Chris and I have talked about this before, just with being PC gamers, like it's just you're kind of used to it.
Okay, if we're going to talk about that, though, we should mention that you were playing the PC version.
Yes, not the console version.
Which is the most stable version.
Which is weird. Yeah, well, so, and the ones for the new-gen consoles are supposed to be stable as well.
So the problems are mostly on the PlayStation version.
Right.
Yeah.
And specifically the PlayStation 4 version. Okay, well, here's the fun part. Yeah. There is no PS4, PS5 version.
Oh, it's
They made one version,
which is not entirely backwards compatible.
No.
And then the whole idea was that, okay, we'll just make it one with a huge range of options for the software to then optimize to the hardware. So it was essentially designed for the PS5, which 11 people have so far.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody who has like $600 just laying around. Yeah.
Right.
Or all the people who have bots and bought them all and are now scalping them.
Yeah. And people are playing what's basically a PS5 game on a PS4.
Yeah.
And it's literally crashing.
It's in potato mode.
To give our listeners who are not hardcore gamers or not really plugged into game journalism, to give you an idea how much of a fustercluck the PS4 version of this game is, within 48 hours of its release, there were numerous ways PS4 users could return the product.
Yeah.
And as of like yesterday, I think it was like yesterday, PS4 has taken it off their.
They pulled it off the whole PSN. Like,
they've acknowledged that it can't be played on the existing devices.
And I've seen screenshots of it does look like total shit. But they put the oh my god, whatever the press release was that CD Projekt Red put out that Aaron was referring to. I've read that they put this out before they like checked in with their shareholders, and so then like the company has pissed off all their. So I mean,
they pissed off their developers, they pissed off their customers, and they pissed off their shareholders. It's a win-win for everyone.
And
did you see the screenshots where who was it? Was it IGN? One of them just loaded it up and decided to set all of the visual options to minimum and see what the end result was, and it's unplayably bad. Like it is just, it is like 4 pixels.
And I also do want to throw back to the ableism thread we were doing before. The reason I thought that was important is one of the issues that this game has, whether on the machines that you can actually play it on, is there are scenes that have strobe effects and are causing to people who are sensitive to that sort of thing. And the game did not have a warning for that.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have, if that was what that, and that is strictly we didn't play it with people. Our priorities were to get the game out. Our priorities were not to test it in different devices. It was not to get feedback from audiences. And people are like, my kid had a seizure on Tuesday, and I had no idea. You didn't tell anyone.
Right, and also like photosensitivity labels have been standard for 30 years now.
It's
when
not
did
labeled.
Pokemon come out?
Yeah, it's not labeled, and there's no way to turn it off.
Yeah.
So if you have any type of, they basically have said if you have any type of disorder where you are sensitive to strobes or flashing lights or a photosensitivity, fuck you, we don't want your money.
Yeah.
And that's
and you wonder if it's. I mean. yes, there should be warnings, but you wonder what part. I kind of wonder what part of the game is causing the issues, because like it's Cyberpunk. I mean, you expect there to be flashing lights. You wonder if it's just.
If you look up the clips, like it's pronounced.
It's like intentional almost, yeah.
And also, again, there's no way to turn it off.
Right. Well, because in a lot of games now,
it's like Incredibles 2 level. Like,
well, and a lot of games now come with like a colorblind mode, so you would think they would have some way to.
Yeah,
but anyway,
accessibility was not a thought in any way, shape, or form to this game.
No.
Now,
what are you talking about? They gave access to 2 different kinds of penises that you'd want to present with.
Okay,
oh God!
Now, all right. Well, now, because we were talking about Star Wars earlier, we've been shitting on Cyberpunk because of them not having the right people in the room or thinking about the people who aren't in the room when developing this thing. The Mandalorian has gone out of its way to make sure that they address voices that are not in the room. For example, they had someone who spoke sign help develop the Tusken Raiders sign language.
Tusken Raiders sign language was developed by he actually was originally hired as one of the extras, and he is a member of the deaf community, and he signs, and it's literally developed organically on site. They didn't actually plan this; it just happened organically on site, and so that they're literally these. There is now a dialect of Tusken Raiders sign language.
Right, and I bring this up just to like hammer home the point of making the effort to have those conversations when developing a product.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily plan to have all the people in the room, but when they realized that they had people in the room that they hadn't accounted for, they made the effort to incorporate their experiences.
Right.
Is,
okay, be fair, Aaron, Wendy, they only had 9 years to develop this game. That is not nearly enough time to ask 14 people to play it once or twice.
And they focused on what was truly important, and that is this. So this is kind of this is the most tame version I could find. So I didn't want to have to give anyone like a trigger warning before I showed this.
Well, my other personal favorite thing is that everyone defaulted to Big Dick, and then
this should probably be explained for people who are listening to this audio only.
Okay.
No, fuck it. Don't explain it to them. Everybody chose the Big Dick, and then the mesh of the clothing didn't quite work right, and they can tell that everybody chose Big Dick because it keeps flopping outside of the clothing mesh.
Sorry guys, it's blurred. But yes, this is Exhibit A.
For those who are listening, you have apparently, because this game was developed by middle-aged white dudes, when you're creating your character, you can choose your penis size.
You have 2 choices.
Oh God, the interesting thing about this though,
one vagina.
Yeah, you know what interesting side effect of that is though. I was talking to one of my students who's trans, and she was just talking about how it was cool that like you can actually just make like whatever post-op trans people or whatever, and it's not a big deal. It's just like
right, and then choose your male or female pronouns,
and then choose your enormous dick. Because
or your incredibly masculine or feminine voice that has to select with your pronouns.
It is weird, yeah. It's not the best. Okay, so
amusingly enough, I do play an online game called Fallen London, which has distinct steampunk elements, which I'll drag in to this conversation, kicking and screaming in a few minutes. But they originally, kind of as a joke, threw in, are you sir, madam, or an individual of mysterious and indistinct gender for people who didn't want to choose. And it's now become like a thing in the game where
that's cool.
You can put in there, my good fellow, there are folks wandering about town with tentacles growing out of their faces, and you're concerned about what I have in my trousers. So you can choose not only, they took that out and allowed you to just choose your title. So you could choose to be called Captain rather than Mr. or Ms. or whatever. And people were like, no, I want to be an individual of mysterious and indistinct gender.
Yeah.
And they ended up selling T-shirts of this.
Does anybody else do that when they like register for hotels, like in real life? There's this hotel we stay in
Joe
Chicago.
does.
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
does.
I put Lord. Yeah. There's this. What is the hotel called, Tracy? It's like a boutique hotel in Chicago. That's like it's actually in kind of near the Art Institute, and it's pretty cheap. So we stay there all the time, and you can put like Lord, Lady, whatever. Yeah.
No, if it's a place that if I'm putting forth like information like that where they don't actually need my actual address, but I have to fill it in for the form for whatever reason. I'm frequently on the airship Nosferatu.
Yeah, and your Dr. Villain.
Yeah.
Dr. Villain. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay. Let us all agree to like move right on past the debate about who is
Chris,
who isn't allowed to call
Eric,
themselves
do you have
doctors.
a medical doctor? Do you have a medical doctorate? Fuck you.
Well, one thing I will point out though is they're like, you can't call yourself a doctor until you've delivered a baby. I'm like, well, technically.
Yeah.
So
she's got a kid.
Oh my God, I know.
My wife is 5 months from finishing her doctorate, and I've decided at that point I will go by Colonel.
Yeah.
Because everyone who's ever called themselves Colonel throughout history was not actually a Colonel anyway. It's a fake rank. I don't think it actually exists in Gaddafi, Sanders, all of them, not real colonels.
Oh God. Okay, you mentioned Colonel Sanders. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going, Chris.
Has anyone watched the?
It's so boring.
What is this?
What are we even talking about, you guys?
Okay,
Right.
there were,
Chris.
as it is as part of a promotional campaign for KFC that they produced a Hallmark movie.
That's real?
Yes.
Oh my God.
The what is it, seduction or something?
Or
It literally is. There's a guy who plays a young
my
hot
God.
Colonel Sanders.
A recipe for seduction.
Recipe for seduction.
And the actor is the actor who played Slater on Saved by the Bell.
I thought that was like some weird
Mario
oh
Lopez.
Mario Lopez is playing.
They did it like a telenovela.
Yeah.
It's 16 minutes long, and it is unforgivably boring.
But the
I
fact that
was offended. I'm like, I want chicken puns. No.
it is
There's a
much
million-
better as an idea than as an actual executed product.
They lost their balls on this. If they would have leaned in full tilt and be like, "Sir, I am calling you a chicken." No, they didn't do any of that shit. It's just like a straight up. It's dumb. It's dumb as shit.
And
Melissa Joan Hart has made 1,000 Hallmark movies that are crazier than this KFC produced fake Hallmark movie.
Oh God.
Not one nutcracker gets fucked in this movie.
It sounds like it was a better idea than execution. I will point out that during lockdown, my mother is in Florida, so she basically hasn't left the house for 8 months, except to do her volunteer stuff. And my mother has actually run out of Hallmark movies to watch.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I didn't think you could do that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, how she goes, oh yeah, I get like halfway through and I'm half an hour in and I'm like, oh no, wait, I've seen this one. I said, are you sure you're just not watching like there's one Hallmark movie and you just change out the pronouns and all of that? And she's like, no, I've seen this movie. I know how it ends.
There is a whole bunch of Christmas direct-to-DVD Christmas movies where it's almost literally the same cover over and over and over again. The woman is wearing a red sweater. The man is wearing a green sweater. The man is either half a head taller or a full head taller than the woman, and the woman is always on the left side. It is it is eerie.
Yeah, they had a screenshot of like all of these movie promo cards, and I'm like, oh dear, So my mother has actually run out of Hallmark movies and has started watching cooking shows.
Hear that, Tracy? Cautionary tale. You have to be careful.
Tell her to watch The Princess Switch 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. with what's her name? With from the
Vanessa Hudgens, yes.
yes from the tragically canceled
Oh, Powerless? Yeah.
Oh dear. For
I miss
those on
Powerless.
audio, Joe has just showed the
Wow.
screen with all of these virtually identical covers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tweet that says capitalism is good because it promotes innovation, and then it has these identical Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically with one exception, the man is always on the same side.
Yeah, and one of them are
Most
like
of the
holding
women
a
are
dog.
blonde, but not all of them.
One of them's holding a guitar. Dude, this has to be like the same woman in some. There's no way. These
I
are
do
all-
highly
Heterosexuality is a mistake.
Happiest Season on Hulu. It's very good.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very much worth watching, especially for
Is
those
it
of us.
good?
Yeah, no, especially for those of us that miss rom-coms. Like, okay, it's like a B rom-com, but we don't get them anymore.
I know, yeah.
Is
And
this the one?
the cast is amazing.
Is this the one with Aubrey?
great.
Is this the one with Aubrey Plaza? And like everybody who's watched it said, why didn't she just like leave with her?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
That is it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, this is actually neatly. We've somehow arrived in Christmas movies. So good job, guys.
Oh, right. Wasn't this the Christmas episode? Yeah.
Yeah. So we all thought about what our. I don't think I asked what your favorite Christmas movie was. I think it was just like pick a Christmas movie and defend your choice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that's where we're going. Who wants to go first? I think everybody has one. I think Chris might have to wing it on this one, but
Well, just the fact that
Fucking
again, for
Sarah,
those who
don't
haven't
mind.
seen our show notes, there was a fight over who got to pick White Christmas.
I will start.
There wasn't a fight. I succeeded.
it was
Very
from a hot-
easily.
Yeah, it was like a coup, really.
Yeah.
It was very, very quick.
We will lead up to your feud in a moment. So yeah, I chose Batman Returns. You've got family drama. You've got bad mistletoe puns. You've got an office party that goes really bad. All the good stuff. It's timely in that you've got a crooked politician trying to steal an election. And the reason, and his whole plot is to separate children from their parents. Merry Christmas, everyone. But I mean, it's also the last. It's also the last Batman, the last good Batman movie for about almost a decade after it was made.
I was inspired by that. So Aaron has a little Christmas tree next to his desk, and I took one of our glittery purple Halloween bats and put it on top of the tree instead of a straw.
That's adorable. So what was yours, Wendy? I haven't heard of this one.
Hogfather. Hogfather is an
Oh,
adaptation.
the Terry
it's-
Pratchett one?
Yes, it is an adaptation of a Terry Pratchett novel. Basically, there are some early adaptations of Terry Pratchett novels that were not so good, being as we actually watched I watched The Color of Magic the other day, and it was watching Sean Astin chew on scenery. But in one of his early books, he throws out the idea of, instead of Santa Claus, they have the Hogfather, who has a sleigh pulled by giant boars, and who, you celebrate by leaving out pork pies and turnips for the pigs. And it was just sort of a throwaway joke. And then eventually, about 10 books later, he came back to it. And the gist of the story is that the auditors of the universe want everything that is creative about humans to cease to exist, all magic, all storytelling, everything like that. And so they figure if they can get rid of the Hogfather, which is, again, an early solar festival, they go back to the whole, it's an early solar festival, it's an animistic spirit, blah, 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 and ends with the idea that humans need to tell stories in order to make us human. It's telling stories and creating things like Hogfathers and tooth fairies and things like that, is what truly makes us human. It's what bridges the rising ape from the falling angel. And it also, in addition to being just a funny movie, really good satire against some super snotty people and really good jokes, but it also produces my favorite, the line that has gotten me through the last 4 years of American politics, which is the little child has come to her nanny and said, "I'm afraid of the monster under the bed." And the nanny goes and beats up the monster under the bed with a poker and tells it to bugger off and not come round again anymore. And the parents are looking at the child, as you're hearing this crashing and banging from the other room. And she said, are you afraid? And she goes, no. Susan says, don't get afraid, get angry. And that saying has gotten me through the last 4 years of American politics.
Yes. Oh my God.
But it is also, it's 4 hours long. It's a miniseries. It was produced by on Sky TV. The same team that did it also produced Going Postal and Making Money. Those are both excellent adaptations. The early adaptations of Pratchett are iffy. The animated ones are terrible. Hogfather is one of the more recent ones. Like I said, solid casting for people who are fans of Downton Abbey. Susan Stowe-Hellett is played by the actress who played Mary Crawley, which is why I was terribly confused when I first saw her, because eyebrows. The woman has very distinct eyebrows.
She does.
Yes. She does.
That's cool, and it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah, that's a great recommendation. So Tracy, do you want to go with yours, because I saw Tracy's written in the notes, and it's adorable. We watch this movie every year. Tracy, what's your choice? And then yeah, go ahead.
Mine is The Snowman. Have y'all all seen it?
No. Or is this the Fassbender mystery?
No. It's an
Not even
animated.
close.
No, it's based on a
Aaron,
child.
I think she gave you all the clues. You should have figured it out.
No, it's based on a children's book from like the 70s, right, Tracy?
Right. So it's based on a children's book. It came out in 1980 something, 1986 maybe.
78. It's 78. Yeah, it's a British one.
No, but whenever it came out on the movie.
Oh, the film. Sorry.
Yeah, book versus movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a children's book, and so it's really beautifully drawn. But like the way that the film is it's like it was made for British TV, so it was like a British TV program. So it's only like 27 or 26 minutes long, but it like does its job really well, and it's just about a little kid making a snowman and then dealing with the fact that like the snowman melts the next day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like that real world disappointment. So it's like the Christmas buildup of like all the magic. The snowman comes to life. The snowman and the kid fly around the world and go hang out with a bunch of other snowmen, and it's amazing. And then the next day the snowman is melted and the kid is like crushed and like has to deal with like adult reality, which is like horrifying, to be like pretty honest.
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
It is. Like as a kid, I remember watching it, and like I mean like it makes me cry like hard every time I watch it in 27 minutes, because it's just like it captures all of that like magic of Christmas that you remember from being a kid. And like, you know what I mean? Like he's having fun, the snowman's going to come to life, everything's so exciting. And then the next day it's like, by the way, Santa Claus isn't real, kid. Yeah. And that's my favorite Christmas movie. Thank you.
So you know how this, I don't think this is so much a thing now, but you had the movies like in the 80s where you'd have like a live action lead in, and then it would go into like a cartoon and it was like demonstrating different realities or whatever.
Yeah.
I was reading about this movie before we started the podcast, and apparently like when they brought it over to the US, they wanted there to be a lead in part, and they wanted like a well-known actor to discover something in the attic that like reminded him of the snowman, and then for it
David
to like
Bowie.
It's fucking David Bowie.
So David Bowie is the Raymond Burr of this movie.
David Bowie is haunting this podcast. I do
He
think
is. I, for one, am okay with that. I don't know about you guys. We could do a lot worse, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of David Bowie, I have yet to see his one Christmas movie. I'm blanking on the name of it. It was a World War II movie.
Oh.
Farewell, Mr. Something, I think.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
There's,
Yeah.
There's a colleague. Hold on,
I was going to say.
Well, keep talking. I'll look it up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say, Tracy, did you have anything else you want to say about your movie?
Is it available streaming somewhere? Because I haven't seen it.
We have it on a VHS that we have to like drag our.
I was about to say,
Thing
yeah,
out of the
I have it
attic
on
every
a
year.
VHS, yeah, because we still have a VCR and VHS that we watch on regular intervals, but
Snowman. I
it
think you
should
probably.
be.
I can't imagine someone watching this and not liking it. It's just absolutely delightful.
It's really beautiful, and there's no talking at all. There's just one song where there's lyrics.
Yeah.
So it's just like, and it's animated like with like colored pencil. So it's like really
so it's
like
got
a
that
beautiful
appear and disappear kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really nice. It's really
Wendy,
it's really very beautiful.
I'm putting a link in the show notes. Like it looks like the whole thing is on YouTube. And if it's
Cool.
not for sale anywhere, then why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Merry
it's really
Christmas,
short.
Mr.
Go ahead.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence is the.
Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so briefly mine, I went back and forth a bunch. The Lord of the Rings movies, for me, are very Christmassy because I always watch them around Christmas. But I think I think the first one where, for those of you who didn't see it, the first Hobbit trilogy movie was just the unexpected journey from the book, which is like 35 pages. It's basically just them eating, a bunch of dwarves eating. So that feels very Christmassy to me. It's a lot like my dad's family, honestly.
The thing I remember about watching that movie in the theater was lots of people in beards running around, and I'm like, it's an episode of Doctor Who, only beardier.
Yes.
And then we take the scene and I looked this up because I was in the theater watching the fight of the stone giants where they're hurling rocks at each other, and I went and looked in the book, and it's 10 words.
Yeah.
And in the movie it's 8.5 minutes.
Yeah. And so I've said this before on the podcast, I'm sure, but the Lord of the Rings trilogy is 3 books that are each like maybe 200 to 280 pages. The Hobbit is 1 book that is 189 pages that was intended for children, and they turned that also into 3 movies. I think the Hobbit trilogy is longer than the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so it's a weird, freaking thing. But
Aaron and I were talking earlier that there is, I think we referenced this when we were talking about various film directors who need someone to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Joe, it's only shorter if you're not watching the extended cuts, you fucking casual.
Yeah.
I have the extended. I also have the who was it, Aaron? Who did the book cut of the Hobbit trilogy?
Oh, Topher Grace.
Yeah, he's the one who did the. I have a book.
What does he do other than illegally recut movies?
I don't think he does anything else. I think that's his jam now.
Wasn't he the one that accidentally leaked the Deadpool footage that led to the movie being made?
Was that him?
Is Topher Grace just a secret force of chaotic good in Hollywood? Is that his whole thing now?
I mean, I think it was either him or it might just have been the what's his name, the Deadpool actor.
Ryan Reynolds.
It was either Ryan Reynolds or Topher Grace. Who accidentally put it online.
Someone put the low res version, and then was either the director or the producer who made that test footage went, you know what, it's out there anyway, fuck it, and he uploaded the HD version.
Oh my god, I just looked up Topher Grace and I forgot that he played David Duke in The Black Klansman.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Man's got bills to pay.
All right.
But
So now
I do have to say, my other response to the Hobbit movies is like, yes, we're going to, in fact, I could see when it was originally supposed to be 2 movies. I could see spreading it out if you put all the stuff that's in the appendices of Lord of the Rings, of this other stuff that's going on at the same time, which was the theory. But then when they said that there are 3, there were going to be 3, I'm like, PJ's got his fanboy on. Because
Yes.
I loved his adaptation of King Kong, and it was 22 minutes too long.
Yeah.
And when I heard he was going to make another movie, I'm like, oh dear God, he's reached the point where he's putting in cool stuff because he can.
Yeah.
You
And
thought
my
it
other-
was only 22 minutes too long?
I would have been okay with I would have been okay with the movie if we just left the entire Dinosaur Canyon sequence out.
That movie should have began with them on the boat going through a fog bank going, we're almost to the island.
Right.
But I can buy, having seen the original and seeing the various adaptations of these, I can buy the rest of it being as is. But that 20 minutes of dinosaurs in the canyon, it's just like, we're doing this because we have special effect budget.
I'll
Right.
take that over the 30 minutes of the movie before the boat leaves.
But you know what? Speaking of the extended version of The Lord of the Rings, like Tracy and I watched the whole thing, like all the movies, all the extended version, and they actually are better.
Yes.
And, I mean, it's not like he cut out stuff. Or, I don't know, Tracy, what did you think? That was probably the first time you saw some of the Lord of the Rings movies.
I really liked it. I thought it made a lot more sense. I definitely had seen some of them before in their abbreviated version or their cinema release version.
Mhm.
And I felt like the longer version made more sense to me as someone who's not read the material.
Yeah,
It definitely made a lot more
without
sense.
doing it in the theater, you
Right.
can't. If you could do it in the theater, but you would have had to have an intermission because everybody's got to pee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can't do.
the extended releases all clock in a little north of 3 hours, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
some of them are like 4
They
and
are
a half.
long.
Yes.
Oh,
They're
I-
very long.
I watch them about once a year, and I watch the extended cuts every time because I'm a masochist.
Aaron and I
also-
both have the 3 DVD sets. Like we were talking the other day about how we have to actually start coalescing down all the things that we both have duplicates of.
Right.
So far, the ones that we've really noticed are that we have all 3 of the extended cut Lord of the Rings movies with all the supporting documentaries, and we have a book, the same edition of a book about pirates.
I cannot tell you how many times I've been having trouble sleeping. This will shock you to know. I don't sleep a whole lot. And I will start one of the extended cuts of The Lord of the Rings and thinking, I'm going to watch the first third of this. And it's something familiar and it'll lull me to sleep. Fast forward to 4 a.m., a tear running down my cheek as one of San Ganji's 5 monologues is playing to those strings in the background. And it gets me every goddamn time.
I love the commentary track. The commentary tracks are snotty. The actors' commentary track on all 3 of those movies is amazing because it is literally like being in the same room with some of the actors. And by the second one, they're recording all the Hobbits and Andy Serkis are all in one room. So the actors' commentary to the second movie is Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan going, say something. I went first last time. It's your turn.
Yeah.
And you go from John Rhys Davies waxing poetically about Tolkien's environmental views and how it was mechanism versus the great forest. And then you cut immediately to, you remember when the horse farted? It's a joy.
Yeah.
But my
They're
primary
really good.
issue, my primary issue with the Hobbit is because I was raised on the Rankin Bass one. And so I grew up, by the way, if those not familiar with it, this is the one where Thurl Ravenscroft sings the background song. Thurl Ravenscroft that is in the voice of the original animated Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he sings, he's the narrator.
It's animated, right? So,
Yeah, but all of the dwarves are pissy old men. And then you go to watch the Hobbit movies, and my friends and I are looking at each other going, I have a hot dwarf cognitive dissonance. Because they're pissy old, wrinkly, arguey, cranky old dudes in this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're like muscular hot guys with long hair. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this.
So now we come to the part of the podcast where we get to have a showdown between Chris and Sarah as they discuss White Christmas. So I'm just going to sit here with my popcorn and let that happen.
I watched it yesterday. The thing we were discussing earlier was all of our deep-seated love of the random satire about modern dance that is shoved for no apparent reason directly in the middle of the second half.
Such a good scene, yes. Okay.
Sarah, you run with this because I'm going to infuriate all of you and expose what is actually one of my favorite Christmas movies. And
Okay,
I'm
great.
so ashamed of it. Let me tell you.
You can jump in because you are also a White Christmas super fan. Okay. The thing about White Christmas is that it is not a good movie. I will tell you that straight up. It is just, it's not. It's fine. Like, it's just like...
It's an excuse for a bunch of musical numbers to happen in a particular order.
Like, it's straight up just an Irving Berlin jukebox musical. Like, it's barely about Christmas. There's like 1.5 Christmas songs in it. It's like the plot doesn't really make sense. It's like it hinges on like a sitcom level misunderstanding. Absolutely ridiculous. But like I saw this the first time when I was like 7, so like this is Christmas to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and again, I'm an old theater kid, so a musical with a thin excuse to put songs in a particular order, and you know, it doesn't so much have a plot as a framework.
Yes, very much so. And like all of the individual musical numbers, like those work. Like they're good.
The dancing is wonderful.
Oh, the dancing's incredible. Vera Ellen was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but like it's not a good movie. But it's like it's my favorite Christmas movie.
Who dubbed her voice, her singing voice?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. Yeah, she did not sing. Everybody else did their own singing except for Vera Ellen. She sings live at one point when they're at the train station and they do the little like snow harmony, and you can tell she's singing live because she looks panicked. It's incredible. She's not prepared to sing. She does not want to do it.
But she's also like one of the best dancers, right? I mean,
yeah. Oh, she's incredible.
A wonderful. The one dance scene with her and the dance captain is just amazing.
Yeah. No, that scene does absolutely nothing like to justify itself, except it just looks really cool.
In video game terms, it's literally a tech demo. Right,
Yeah.
It's just the two of them showing off for each other.
Yeah.
You
know, and that's fine because it's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
No,
honestly,
it's great. The like random parody like satire scene about modern dance as a concept, which has not aged well, but I love it. Like there's a random musical number where they just like go outside for a while. And that's just a musical.
I like the one where they're in drag, but they're I mean, I can't tell it.
Yeah.
The fun part about that was not in the original script.
That does not surprise me.
Crosby's idea.
It was Bing and Danny fucking around between takes with the fans.
Yeah, that checks out for me.
And somebody was like, hang on, that's really fucking hilarious. We got to put that in. And so they shoved it in, they shoehorned it in so that they could put it in.
Mm-hmm.
And it is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Also, this movie has done more to eroticize buttermilk than anything else in the history.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
And liverwurst.
Yeah, this movie is weirdly horny.
Erotic.
Think about the dulcet tones of Mr. Bing Crosby while you eat a sandwich.
Hey, everybody, ignore the fact that I'm the only one here that can't dance. Listen to the sound of my voice.
And look my ankle garters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the ankle garters were lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
My favorite thing about Bing Crosby and his lack of dance training is that he's not even trying. Like, he's like, listen,
It's like, I'm Bing Crosby. Fuck you.
I know what I'm about. No one is paying to see me dance. It's fine.
I'm the park and bark. Dance around me, bitch.
Yeah. Okay. So Vera Ellen's lines were actually, some of them were dubbed by an actress named Trudy Stevens. The rest of them were dubbed by Rosemary Clooney.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
So she actually
Yeah.
dubbed her sister's character.
Yeah.
It didn't the article I saw
That's
didn't specify
wild.
which ones. But
Yeah.
Trudy Stevens does some of them, and the other ones it's Rosemary Clooney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the harmony parts, it would probably make sense to just have Rosemary Clooney like double up on that.
Yeah, where it's
like,
not really necessary.
Yeah.
Who's the one I don't remember the character's name because it doesn't matter in the plot, but there's like the one showgirl who clearly has like some kind of massive head trauma, and they like make fun of her. What the hell is her name?
I don't remember.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's my favorite character.
And they're just like, oh, she's stupid. It's like, no, get her to a doctor. She is concussed.
She is intended to represent a very specific stereotype of a not particularly bright gold digging showgirl.
Yeah.
Which she did with a very strong New York accent.
Yes.
She's my favorite character, honestly.
She's the sleeper hit. She's the Harley Quinn of.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, I was watching it and just going, not only is the dancing amazing, but Vera Ellen's doing all of that. And I guesstimated that those heels were about 3.5 inches.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I just my ankles hurt just looking at this.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
And
I love
she is
any.
not a spring chicken in that film, because I just saw something that Rosemary Clooney is actually like much younger than her in the film, which makes me think that she's like about 30 whenever
Which
they were
is
filming
super
it.
creepy because Bing Crosby was in his 50s.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, Rosemary Clooney was only like 25 when they filmed this movie.
Yep, and Bing Crosby was 51, and they're a couple, and
Making it one of his more age-appropriate on-screen relationships. So I mean,
yeah.
It honestly, like, I feel like it should bother me, but like it doesn't, like within the context of the movie, because like Rosemary Clooney seems like such an adult.
Well, yes, and also a lot of that is the pitch of her voice.
For sure.
Speaking as a low alto, low female voices tend to read older.
Yeah. No. I have the opposite thing. Soprano 1, everybody thinks I'm a decade younger than I actually am. My favorite game to play with the teens at work is guess how old I am, and then blowing their minds when they realize that I'm 33.
Well, mine is the exact opposite. I mean, vocally, I read older. I always have. The low note of my singing voice has been D flat below middle C since I was 12.
Yeah.
My thing is that I have dimples and I still break out in zits. I have oily skin.
Yeah.
And I'm very energetic.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started my current job, which I've now been at for 5 years, everyone was asking my boss, where where that nice college girl he'd hired. My boss is 6 months older than I am. I'm 54.
Well, with my high-pitched voice and young features, I have often been mistaken.
Yeah.
We commented the other day that we were talking about beards and how people look old, and it occurs to me that I have known Aaron for 20 years, and I don't believe I have ever seen your chin.
Yep. No, I lose several years, and without this beard, I have no chin. I mean,
he has. You notice today he has shaved off the fuzz, because when he doesn't shave when the beard gets longer around his face, he gets this sort of Muppet halo.
Yeah.
Where there's just all this hair like everywhere.
Yeah.
He does have cheeks now, but no, I have known him for the better part of 25 or 30 years, and I have never seen his chin.
When Chris doesn't have a beard, he looks like Andy Richter.
A lot.
It's disconcerting.
Yes.
I have a friend who, when he shaved his beard because his young child had reached the point of standing up, and he decided that daddy's beard
Uh-huh.
And he shaved off his beard, and his own wife walked into the room and did not recognize him because she had never seen his chin. And all of a sudden, he looked like 16. And we were all like, who is that? Yeah, they arrived separately to rehearsal that day, and he had shaved his beard off, and his wife did not know who he was.
Yeah, we've discussed in the past that I am, a week and a half older than you, Joe? And used to pose as your father in high school for purposes of buying things.
That's true. So, Chris, did you have Chris?
Yeah, you got to tell us about yours now.
Yeah, tell us
you
your
muted
movie.
yourself.
Oh, okay. Like, I hate this. So my actual yearly favorite Christmas tradition is White Christmas.
Mhm.
There's another Christmas movie that I watch every year, and it makes me cry every fucking year, and it's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. It's 4 minutes long because it's a fucking H&M commercial.
What?
I
I'm like,
love this
officially
choice,
say it's
honestly.
the Christmas season now because I've seen the little ringing bells Hershey's Kisses commercial.
Mm.
It used to be when I saw the Norelco commercial with the Santa on the shaver, but they don't do that anymore.
I know. They've stopped airing the Folgers incest ad. I'm very sad.
But
That was a key part of my holiday tradition.
Yes.
But the jingly
I
Hershey's
do love the
Kisses,
the Hershey's Kisses jingle bell.
that is still a going concern. I
Mhm.
saw it the other day.
But specifically in 2016, Wes Anderson for H&M made a 4-minute Christmas short just about a bunch of people on a train.
That is really good. Yeah.
It's so fucking good, and they aren't gonna make it to their destination in time for Christmas. And
Is that Adrian Brody in that?
Yes.
What?
It's a Wes Anderson
Wes
movie.
Anderson made it. Joe, come on.
What the fuck is this?
It's a Wes Anderson short. He just made it for H&M. And it's all about Adrian Brody saving Christmas using shit he finds around a train.
I'm so into this. Thank
Eric,
you.
as soon as we get off tonight, we are finding this.
It makes me cry every goddamn time. I'm not even kidding.
Well,
I love this choice.
If you're a fan of major Hollywood directors directing TV commercials, this year's Coca-Cola ad was directed by
Taika Waititi, and I cried like a fucking baby.
Yep. Yep.
I was angry. I was so fucking mad. I love Taika, but I got to the end of a fucking Coke commercial with tears in my eyes. Taika, how fucking dare you? Not a little bit. I ugly cried at the end.
I had to clean my glasses.
Sarah, have you seen this yet?
I haven't seen it. No.
It's so goddamn funny, and at the very end, it punches you in the goddamn soul.
Oh, okay.
What you thought you were watching is not what it builds up to this, ridiculous planes, trains, automobiles, traveling all these different ways to get there, and then it's not what you think.
He works the entire emotional punch of Hunt for the Wilder People into a Coke ad.
Yeah.
That's.
Yep.
I mean, he's very talented.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
Very
I
true.
mean, if we're talking about stuff we watch every year, I was raised on the Rankin Bass
Oh yeah, for
holiday
sure.
canon, of which there are several that are not seen anymore, for good reason. Nestor the Long-Eared Christmas Donkey is terrible. Their version of the Little Drummer Boy is awful.
Oh
the
god,
Drummer
those are
Boy.
both so bad.
I'm fond every year of posting about, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is everyone's favorite festive holiday story about how it's okay to be a dick to people until you need something from them.
Yeah.
And another one that has not aged well is Mad Monster Party.
Oh yeah, we watched that. He's like, I watched this as a kid. It was great. And the first time somebody slaps a hysterical woman, we just looked at each other and we're like,
Done.
we're done with this movie.
Yep.
But I'm a big fan of Year Without a Santa Claus because I love the Miser Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Miser
yeah.
and Snow Miser. When we had our Girl Scout meetings that happened, everything stopped if that was on, because the meeting stopped, anything, we have to stop. We have to go up and we have to watch because there's that song.
Mm-hmm.
I have that on my computer, actually, so we have yet to watch that this year. We watched Charlie Brown Christmas, the one measly time that Apple deigned to show it to us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's so
Are you all familiar with that?
You know how Apple bought our childhoods?
Yeah, Apple bought all the Charlie Brown holiday specials, and they were only going to show them on Apple TV. And social media went ballistic.
Yeah.
And Apple was like, "Oh, this is not a good look for us." But they didn't want to air them on a different network and give somebody else the right to sell advertising. So what they did is to calm everybody down. They allowed PBS to show once the Great Pumpkin, the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and a Charlie Brown Christmas, because that way they aren't nobody's getting extra money from it. But it's how Apple calmed down the pitchfork mobs who were like, "You have bought our childhood and put it behind a paywall."
God, Apple. Yeah,
So I feel the same way about a Garfield Christmas, which no one even plays anymore. Joe bought it for me a couple of years ago, somewhere on the internet.
It's also very sweet, yes.
But like the Garfield Christmas is like so sweet, and it's really old. It's from the 80s. It's really old, right? It's from the 80s.
Yeah.
Hello, I was in high school in junior
Right,
high
but I'm
in
just
the
saying,
80s.
But it was not very popular, but it's something that I always loved, and it did play yearly, and now it doesn't play at all. But it's such a good one, the Garfield Christmas.
I have on DVD a copy of the Bloom County holiday special, A Wish for Wings That Work. And I made
YouTube.
Aaron watch it. It's
the whole thing's
terrible.
on YouTube. I love it.
But it is objectively terrible.
Yes, I love it.
Is there a Dilbert one where Dilbert just like stays at home and screws around on Reddit and then goes to bed crying or something?
No, there was. Yeah.
You boy, what day is it? Bring me your sister so that I may marry her.
But yeah, my other one that I watch is there is a 70s musical movie version of Scrooge that is so ridiculously over the top.
I love that one.
I adore that one.
Oh, it's so good.
Especially because the one thing I love about it is that when Scrooge has his big change of heart, everybody is looking at him like he's fucking lost his mind.
Yeah.
Everybody, people are like, "Are you all right? Do you want to sit down?" "Oh my God, he's gone mad. Someone call the cops."
Yeah.
Because clearly this is not a change of personality. The man has lost it. The man has gone mad. He is running around the streets in a Santa Claus suit, and we have to take him in for his own protection.
Oh God, yeah.
Which is my favorite way of reacting to that particular transformation.
Right, he's had a complete personality change.
Yes. We have to call a doctor.
Yes. So, okay, we could keep talking, but we should wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is you're doing.
A blessed solstice to everyone.
Yeah, right. God, is that like
last
tomorrow?
night of Hanukkah.
Solstice is Sunday night.
It's Sunday night.
So Sunday night is the longest day of the year.
Yep.
Oh, it should be the longest night of the year. So the thing to remember when you get up on Monday morning is that the days only get longer from here out and the sun only gets brighter.
Thank God I have seasonal affective disorder.
Which, Sarah, every time I read about seasonal affective disorder for some reason, I always think, like, did they have to make the abbreviation SAD?
SAD, yes.
Isn't that insulting? Like, couldn't you have called it something
appropriate.
else? It is,
Yeah.
but it's also like, yes, we know, we get it.
Yes, but when you have to buy a sad light.
Right.
I have to buy a light because I'm sad.
I used to totally have Gabriella's from Xena, her speech about the solstice. No one else remembers it. I'm like, but it's just like, it's the shortest day, but it's the longest night. It's basically the whole episode is about Xena and Gabriella inventing the myth of Santa Claus.
Oh dear.
No, Xena's amazing. It holds up. I don't care what it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And both actresses are like, we would be up for doing it again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just so long as Sorbo has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no,
No,
God,
get him.
Yeah.
Yeet that
Love
man
that
into
guy.
the sun.
Lucy Lawless was really good in Oh my God! Why have I just blanked on it? The
Everything? Were you gonna
Yeah,
say
everything she's ever done.
No, the TV show with. Oh my God, Tracy! What is the Evil Dead TV show? God, I can't remember the name.
Briscoe County Jr.
No. From not from Dusk Till Dawn.
Evil Dead.
Evil
just
Dead.
Evil Dead,
They called it Evil Dead.
Yeah,
They-
she's
standard.
like the grifter queen in Evil Dead, and she's awesome.
She's
in it.
great in it.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
really
Now
good.
I just want to see a remake of Briscoe County Jr.
Yeah, I would watch the
She
fuck
should
out of that.
be in it. She should be in it for sure.
Bruce Campbell was a guest at Marcon one year in Columbus, Ohio, and this was during a year where live action role playing was still the hot thing, and they were doing a pseudo vampire LARP, and he played the priest. And here's the thing. He had his Western gear with him.
Because of course he did.
Yeah. So of course, so I imagine being a young fan at that age, at a con, fucking around, playing Vampire the Masquerade, LARPing, and Bruce Campbell wants to play with you guys.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's like a one of a kind like actor, like for what it's worth with the stuff like that. Like my brother is literally his biggest fan, and I'm not joking. Like my brother like obsessed with Bruce Campbell.
I think my favorite quote from Bruce Campbell is, "It's really nice that there are so many, the Bruce Campbell role. It would just be really nice if when people were casting the Bruce Campbell role, they'd actually call Bruce Campbell."
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I did one of the years that I used to run the costume track at WindyCon. And the year that it was zombie themed, we did a stage blood cook-off where we compared different homemade recipes and commercial products and which looked better. Because I've done stage blood. I've got my own recipes. Bruce Campbell has published his stage blood recipe, so we used that
Nice.
as one of the examples.
Was it good?
He actually uses coffee creamer in his because he wants a more opaque. Where most stage blood ends up being slightly translucent if you don't add enough. The key to good stage blood is not just use the red food color and use the blue too. And we used to opaque ours, we use chocolate syrup, which gives you that glistening, but not, so it's not transparent. You, however, don't want to use that recipe when doing outdoor haunts, because when you're doing, I'm a 10-year professional haunt performer. What else goes on during October? Yellow jacket season. You do not want to be covered in chocolate syrup and corn syrup.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want to be able to not be mugged by insects, or you want to be able to wash it out of your clothes, you mix your stage blood. If you're not using a commercial product and you're mixing it yourself, you mix it on a woolite base, because woolite is dark blue. It has the right consistency.
And before we wrap up, I have to throw out that Bubba Hotep, greatly underrated film.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Best ever.
So glad you said that, Chris. So Joe doesn't have to spend the next 72 hours editing this down. I have a suggestion for the wrap up. What is something that each of us are looking forward to before the end of this year? It could be something banal.
That's easy. My favorite day of the year is December 26th, which sounds very Grinchy, but let me tell you, the holiday is over.
Yep.
I don't go back to work until January, and me and the kids in pajamas, and we kind of don't leave the house. Okay, actually, this year that's going to be pretty much the same as it's been.
That's the last 8 months.
But
I'll be home for Christmas because that's where I've been for the last 9 months.
But as someone, who has been working consistently through this whole thing, just that period of just being home with the holiday over and the expectations over, and it's genuinely my favorite week of the year.
I've never had a job where I had that time off.
Yeah.
Oh, well, very often we'll actually be out and away, and admittedly last year it was a little nicer because we spent it in Paris, and this year we'll be spending it in our living room. but I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah. I guess mine's kind of like Chris. Is just working in academia. You get that, but then it's also, I don't know if it's the same way for you, Chris, but like leading up until kind of the end of the year, it's also when people start losing their shit, like when students start losing their shit. So it's really nice. Just my last day until January was yesterday, and so I'll stay in my house, whatever. I don't need to do anything exciting. You just have to like recharge the, I don't know, human interaction muscles.
Yeah, I just it's that one time of year where I get time off where no one calls me. Because normally, like, my time off is in heavy quotes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, Chris isn't here. Let's call him 400,000 times about stuff that we could probably figure out through deductive reasoning.
Right.
But for those,
Aaron and I are in our process of working out what the holidays mean to us, because this is our first holiday season as a married couple.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
So we sit down and we're like, okay, well, what's the important part? Okay, what's your favorite Christmas cookie? What is there something that you want to do, that you want to incorporate, that your family did, that you want to keep doing? What's the important part to you?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because I'm a lapsed Catholic. I have left the Catholic Church. He was raised Catholic, so, you know, is watching midnight mass, is that an important part of the thing? Is putting up decorations an important thing? Is a particular kind of cookie a thing, or are we going to make our own? You know, I normally I make fudge for everybody in my family and pretty much everyone I've ever met, and everyone who doesn't stand still long enough.
Yeah.
But in order to get that out, it would have been when we still had COVID. So I just told the entire family, I'm like, you're going to get random January fudge, because I just don't, I would have had to do it in order to get it in the mail. I would have had to do it the weekend of December 3rd, and we were still actively symptomatic at that time.
Right.
And we just were not up to it. So we're not doing fancy Christmas cookies like decorated. We're like, you know, Aaron's like, I like the little peanut butter ones with the little Hershey's Kisses. So we've got those. We'll make one of those, and we're not up for decorating sugar cookies, but we're going to make sugar cookies with colored sprinkles on them, you know, and figuring out what has been the important part that you want to take from where you came from and bring that coming forward.
Yeah.
So we had a great conversation today about that.
Wendy, you missed the conversation last week where Joe and I were talking about the fact that we are technically Catholics on the roll, because once you're confirmed, they claim you forever.
Yeah.
So we should, the three of us and Megan, let's start a whole side project called Let's Try to Get Excommunicated.
Well, I'm technically a
takes.
heathen because I've heard the word of God and ignored it, because I was also raised Catholic.
Yeah.
I'm half Irish and half Polish. My mother's maiden name is Geyer.
Yeah.
But like,
all four of us would be confirmed Catholics that have completely abandoned it, but none of us have been formally excommunicated. So we're going to figure out what it takes.
So Chris is going to wait until this pope dies and we inevitably get a shitty pope, and then we're going to go to the Vatican and punch the pope in the face and see if we can.
So we can get excommunicated.
We'll see. See if
all
that works.
popes are shitty popes.
So
I think that sounds like a very good prestige podcast. Like, like, what does it take to get excommunicated?
All right. So Wendy took my what I was going to say, you know, that I'm really looking forward to having my first
figuring out what Christmas means to us.
Right. Yeah, for our first Christmas together. So I'm going to give two that I'm looking forward to. One, I'm looking forward to the day after Christmas. I'm stealing this from the internet. I'm going to get an advent calendar and start it on the day after Christmas, because if you start an advent calendar day after Christmas, it ends during the
It ends on Inauguration Day.
That's smart. Yeah.
And the other one I'm looking forward to, speaking of podcasts, Wendy has turned me on to the BBC's Lovecraftian Investigations, which is a reimagining of a reimagining / retelling of Lovecraft stories from the in the idea that this is a podcast of these, you know, mystery solving enthusiasts.
If I may, a little bit. I've basically the first season was the case of Charles Dexter Ward, and the conceit is that they are a true crime podcast, and they are investigating a young man who disappeared from a locked mental asylum. So they've taken a lot of the Lovecraftian tropes and stuff and draped them over modern day 60s and 70s and all of that, so that you get to leave out a lot of the more objectionable aspects of Lovecraftian stuff. So season 1 is called The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. Season 2 was The Whisperer in Darkness, which we finished last night. Yeah. And the season 3, The Shadow over Innsmouth, has dropped. Yeah. So we're in the process of working our way through that.
So good.
All right, Sarah, Tracy, what about you guys?
Oh, that you talking about that reminded me that I still have yet to do one of my newest but most favorite Christmas traditions, which is listening to the Sawbones Hallmark movie parodies that they do.
This year it's a live. This year they did it as a live show.
I haven't listened to the new one yet. I sit down and I listen to the older ones and then the newest one on like December 24th or 25th, and I'm like, this is a crucial part of my holiday.
It is funny because I'm a regular Sawbones listener, and Erin is a regular Adventure Time listener. So I walk past the study and I'm like, wait, that's Justin McElroy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a podcasting empire. There's so many of them.
McElroymerch.com is its own thing now.
Yeah.
I listened to the Sawbones Hallmark special last year on an airplane.
On
an overnight flight. I am stifling laughter so hard with sleeping people all around me. Going, this was a terrible choice.
They're so good.
It's always some variation of, a big city doctor comes to a small town to learn the meaning of a medicine called Christmas. And the whole thing is played exactly like that.
Yeah.
All right, Tracy, what's yours? What's your Christmas thing?
I don't know, watching some favorite Christmas shows like The Grinch and the Garfield Christmas special.
We got to watch the Garfield one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do that.
Yeah, the Garfield one is definitely special to me. And then I think for me, like, I like waking up early on Christmas morning before Joe and drinking a lot of champagne so that we can do my favorite part, which is stockings, because I love tiny items. So like tiny items, just for whatever reason, do it for me. Like, so this year, like my favorite Christmas present already is that I have this advent calendar that Joe got me. That's the Nightmare Before Christmas. So every day for like the past, whatever, what is today? The 19th? The past 19 days, I've been opening it and getting a tiny Funko figure from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Which is amazing.
Yeah,
like
Tracy and I
great things with the advent calendars now.
Tracy and I, it was very interesting when I first met Tracy and she was talking about being really into advent calendars, and that's just a Catholic thing, right? Like anyone can use advent calendars, but Advent is like a Catholic thing.
Advent's a very Catholic thing,
Yeah,
it's a very Catholic thing.
Right.
It's much like Lent in it. It's a time of preparation before a particular religious festival.
Right. I just wasn't sure if other Christian religions had that. But I remember when I was a kid, my great aunt, who was also like my sponsor for getting confirmed and all of that, would get us advent calendars, and I just like eat the whole thing and close all the little doors. And then like we'd have the part of the night where all of us would open our advent calendar, and I'd open mine and be like, and then close it and be like, I'm saving this for later, because I'd already just consumed the entire thing.
My variation of that was I am obviously for those who know my maiden name, which is Stradowski. I'm half Polish, and so my grandfather used to bring opłatki to the Christmas feast. And what opłatki is basically the stuff they make communion wafers out of, except they press it into like biblical and holiday scenes. And it's a more formal way of you break bread with your family and you do it in a particular order and all of that. But I always really liked the little like styrofoam bread. So when I was little, I used to sneak up and like eat half of it. So my grandfather would pull it out and there'd be like one sheet when there were supposed to be 4, because I just really liked the little styrofoam bread.
Yeah.
Speaking of holiday specials, anyone else? I was just thinking about the best holiday special that we haven't mentioned. Am I the only person who, like, most of what they know about Hanukkah comes from that one episode of Rugrats?
Yes.
Rugrats is before my time. It was after my time.
Oh. No, I used to hang out with a Jewish family for like 10 years.
I hung out with several Jewish families that were all so lapsed they had Christmas trees. I mean, I didn't know shit about Hanukkah.
That's how my thing was, because my cousin, my uncle is Catholic and her mom is Jewish, is practicing, and so it would be like, let's play dreidel. Okay, now let's get Christmas presents. No one cares about dreidel. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
Well, whereas I learned a fair amount about it because that was when I was a brownie. Which is, for those who don't know, that's the like youngest level of Girl Scout. we went to somebody's house and I learned how to make latkes and I learned how to play dreidel and all of that. And my brother married a Jewish woman, so my brother's family celebrates both Hanukkah and Christmas. My mother's comment was, well, they celebrate Christmas by like having people over for dinner. And I said, Mom, that's how they celebrate Tuesdays.
Right.
You know, my brother and his wife are big into like entertaining, and they've redone their kitchen 3 times now since they've been married. So they do both of them because, you know, what the heck, it's the middle of winter and any excuse to have a party. I'm normally the person making fun of people who put up their Christmas decorations like in November. But this year,
whatever,
you know, man, if you want to look at twinkly lights in the middle of October, you do you. Whatever it takes to get through this year, you do it.
Yes.
So periodically I'm stopping. I'm like, all right, we're going to watch a Christmas special. Why? Because damn it, I'm going to get some little holiday spirit somehow if I have to squeeze 2020 like a sponge.
Yes, we could have Santa and the Hanukkah bird and all. Oh, do you guys have you guys heard of the Hanukkah bird? I asked.
No, this is something unique to your family, but tonight is the last night of Hanukkah.
Okay, yeah. The Hanukkah bird, I don't know about that, Tracy. I think we need to do a further investigation because my cousin
I want you to think really, really hard before you tell us about the Hanukkah bird.
Why?
I have a feeling. Think about it first and then decide if you're going to finish this story.
About the Hanukkah bird? Why?
I don't know. I have a feeling. Okay, go ahead.
Because it's a lot like the story my brother told me about the Christmas possum.
No, that's totally what it is. It's because my cousin, and this is the weird thing is, so she's an only child. She has no brothers or sisters, and she would do Christmas, and Santa would come. But I think what it was is like when she was a little kid, she was kind of like more interested in Christmas because she was a kid and she was getting more presents, whatever, Christmas.
Yeah.
And so her mom was like, "Oh, have you heard of the Hanukkah bird?" And so her mom like got us all wrapped up into it, and we had to pretend the Hanukkah bird was there. And there's like a very elaborate. I'm gonna have to talk to Sarah and ask her like what the mythos was, because they had like this outdoor balcony, and they'd always drop off like a big present, and it'd be like, "Oh, I heard the Hanukkah bird," and then there'd be like a Power Wheels upstairs on their balcony. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, I think they made it up.
Yeah, they did, but it's still funny.
I do not think there's any rabbinical justification for this.
I'm sure you could probably argue it, as I know we mentioned before. We went to we were at a panel discussing. It was called "Fantastic Beasts and Whether to Eat Them," and it was what animals are kosher, and that was where we in fact learned that there are approximately slightly less than 90 Pokemon that are considered to be kosher.
What if the Hanukkah bird is really like Mothman or something? Like this would be a whole new.
That's special. Well, so like I love it that like my brother seriously convinced me that like there was a Christmas possum when I was a kid, and it took me way
which is
too
the
long
redneck
to
Texas version of the Hanukkah bird.
No, no, but it is.
That would
like,
be the Christmas armadillo. Thank you very much.
Exactly. They don't have possums in Texas.
Right. But no, they do have possums in Texas. We do have possums.
Oh, okay.
And like I saw an albino possum on Christmas Eve, and like I saved it. It was gonna get run over in the street. And I came home and told my family, right? Like, oh, I've been playing in the woods and I saw this albino possum and I saved its life. And my brother was like, holy shit, are you joking? And I was like, no. And he is like, you saved an albino possum on Christmas Eve? He was like, this is a Christmas miracle. All of your Christmas wishes are coming true the next day because you did like this one special
You saved
thing.
the Christmas possum.
That's
Because it
Shadow.
was all white. Yeah.
That's Shadow Screech. He is king of the possums.
Exactly. And I believed that shit until I was like in my mid-20s. Like it just like did not occur to me that it was not
Wait,
real.
what part did you believe that they're like that it was a thing, or you actually believed in the Christmas possum?
I
Believed
believed
that it was
that
a
there
story.
I believe that there was a myth about the Christmas possum,
okay.
about saving it.
Okay,
Yeah.
It wasn't
just
shit your
checking.
brother made up.
Just
Right.
check.
I am digging this Texas Shintoism thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, may the Christmas possum bless you all.
I think
Oh
Aaron's
my
asleep.
gosh.
But
And to all a good screech.
deck the halls with Christmas possums. Ah! Possums are all really awesome. Ah! Saving ticks, not getting rabies. Ah! Mamas carry lots of babies. Ah!
Merry Christmas,
Good night,
all.
everybody.
That's it for Season 4, Episode 15 of Gateway Geeks Podcast, The Myth of the Christmas Possum 2077. On behalf of the entire Gateway Geeks crew, I'd like to wish you all a Happy New Year and a much improved 2021. This episode was with Tracy Gomillion, Sarah Jane Connor, Chris Knetzer, Joe Kohlburn, Aaron Robb, and Wendy Robb. I, Joe Kohlburn, edited and produced along with Chris Knetzer.